Okay, so thanks for the introduction. I'm Sasha. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Unitary, and we're a startup that's all about trying to build better AI models to understand content online and help make the internet safer. I met James, my co-founder who's here, back in 2019 through Entrepreneur First, which is a startup generator. And we started assembling a team of computer vision, machine learning experts to try and tackle this problem. We're now processing images and videos from some of the world's biggest social networks. But we're continuing to sort of innovate and face loads of challenges in really being able to understand content on the internet. And I want to talk today about some of those challenges, sort of the AI challenges. I know we've got a room of data scientists, and how we can sort of hope to better differentiate sort of naughty from nasty in the world of online dating. So online content today is like extremely complex. There's so much content people post online every day, and a lot of it is multimodal. And what I mean by that is it contains images, visual content, audio content, text, and everything else. And dating apps by nature are multimodal. So you have your profile picture, your bio, your username, people send image messages, maybe you send voice notes, video, and having to sort of digest all of this information is a really challenging problem, sort of for humans as well as AI. So why is it so hard? Well, because context is really important. Here's an image with two captions, and two different captions. These are both from Reddit. And two different captions can have totally different consequences for the meaning of that post. So here we have two images of, or the same image, of drugs. And depending on the caption, we might interpret it really differently, whether that's sort of drug abuse or sort of a more medical setting. And most AI systems sort of look at an image in isolation and text in isolation. But as a human, we're able to interpret both together. And so the challenge is building an AI system that can understand both together. And in the context of dating or on social media, as people, we're constantly asking ourselves questions based on the content we're receiving. And so I want to ask, how can we build AI models that can answer those questions as well? So some examples: is this video your future soulmate getting ready for a day of hunting, or are they planning to commit violence? Is this a photo of someone who shares your love of houseplants, or is she growing marijuana? And are these emojis celebrating your next date's thriving garden, or are you about to have to change the conversation? And it's not just text and image, but there's all sorts of other modalities to contend with. So I mentioned voice notes and audio. And in a video itself, you've got all the different frames of the video. You might have text on the screen, have captions and comments, and everything else that makes up a profile and the conversations you're having. And all of these are really important inputs to help tell a human and also a model, an AI model, what's going on, whether that post might be harmful. So how do we go about trying to incorporate context? And the first step is looking at text and then adding other modalities. So textual content is a really important signal for identifying abuse online. And something that we did early on at Unitary was build an open source text-based toxicity classifier. It's called Detoxify, and it's freely available. And it's being used by social networks, forums, big and small. So I'd encourage people to check it out. And this basically helps us to identify if a particular phrase or line of text is potentially toxic in some way. But obviously, adding in extra modalities is where the complexity really starts to come in. And something that we have been thinking about at Unitary is that part of the challenge in this space is the lack of available data that's publicly available that's actually representative of the way that people post online. So sort of data sets you might find that's really curated content where there's an image or a video and the title is a perfect descriptor of that image or video is just not very realistic for how people interact on the internet. People might say OMG and have a picture of anything. And you might say, what a cutie, compared with a photo of this dog. And we recognize that in order to build models that can be successful at understanding online interactions, we need to have a data set that could be representative of online interaction. And so something we've been doing at Unitary is actually collecting our own data set that's representative of the way that people post online and made it publicly available. So if you're interested, it's called VTC, Videos, Titles and Comments. And this is to actually sort of encourage and support innovation in the data science community to help people try out models of online content. I'm going to just quickly talk about a model that we built that we sort of tested on this data set. We published at a conference last year, and it's all publicly available. So what we're trying to do here is use a text snippet, look what I found, to try and get the model to sample the most relevant video thumbnails from the data set. So here we have the title, Look What I Found. And the relevant thumbnails are sort of all a bit random. And now what we tried to do was add in increasingly more information in the form of comments and use that to hone in on the right videos. So the first comment, why is it drinking from a glass of water? And we see that the thumbnails get relevant to water compared to previously where they were all a bit random. And if we add in a second comment, and we can actually try and trick the model a bit, so we say cute cat emoji, my dog wouldn't do that, you can see that the model learns that actually the thumbnails should all be cats drinking from water. So it gets more and more relevant with this extra information, and it shows really the value of, from a machine learning point of view, of adding in more information. And on a profile, or on a dating site, or an app, or social network, it's rich amounts of information that we can make better use of in trying to really understand the content. This issue of combining modalities is perhaps the most extreme when it comes to video. So typically, the way AI models often work in the case of sort of content moderation is you have a object detection within an image, let's say. So for example, in these two images, we would detect a firearm. And then you have to make a decision on whether you like firearms or don't like firearms. And maybe you say, if the probability of it containing a firearm is above some threshold, we're going to make some action. But you lose all of the context if you, from a video, just look at one single image frame or multiple frames. And actually, if you can take into account that it's a video and look at the sounds and the titles, you can understand that these firearms are maybe not at all firearms and in a different context. So the first one is actually a pressure washer. And you might understand that from the sound of the water jet or my son washing the gate as a title. The second video on the right-hand side is a video game. And you can get that also from the title, but from lots of cues in the video itself. So in both of these settings, just looking at one modality and applying sort of an image recognition doesn't help you necessarily with understanding the harm of the content. And you really need to look at the full picture. So in the future, we need to move towards a place where we can have AI and humans working together to really understand and build content moderation systems that really work. The pace of change in AI is really, really exciting right now, and getting to a point where it's possible that AI can really understand nuanced moderation decisions and understand the sort of meaning behind posts. So it's possible that by using human moderation in tandem with AI, we can actually get to a point where we can make really informed decisions according to an actual policy and the way that people would interpret content, rather than just looking for specific objects. So this is what we're doing at Unitary. We're building multimodal models at very large scale and aiming to make the internet safer. And I would love to answer any questions after the next talk. Thanks so much.